All right. How am I coming through? Get started here soon. Already pretty excited to be back. I am here. Sitting here coming in being like, all right, this is the one I'm doing this week. I did one last week. Well, I did one, as it turns out, 12 days ago. Well, godhood is relative, and as we can see in my starting soon art here, there's one coming up. I could be a little louder. All right. Let's see if I can, in fact, be a little louder. How about now? Am I a little louder now? Like in the song? Alright. Well, excellent. Let's put me and the game up on the screen. Hey, there's my little guy. I love him. Alright. He is super cute. Way cuter than the real article. So, briefly recap while we load in here. Last time, we started a whole new captain and sailed north to the tomb colonies and Wither over to Codex, and then down to Gator's Morn, stopped back in fallen London, and then headed south to the Cumaean Canal, and we stopped when we arrived at the Iron Republic. I think I maybe missed out there that we went through Mount Palmerston as well, so we're doing the demon tour, as it were. So, once we load in here, we'll be back in the devil-run Iron Republic, where everything is up for debate and vote. And our rough goal is to continue southward so that we can get ourselves a submarine kit. That's the idea, anyway. We didn't really do anything in the Iron Republic last time, but just to kind of reacquaint ourselves here, we've got the crew, our Blemigan Gallivanter as a mascot, our Clattery Heir as our surgeon, and our Longshanks Gunner as our gunnery officer. This is us with our perfectly harmless and not at all ominous name. And we're here in the Iron Republic, Hell's client state, be wary. Their laws are not the laws of man or nature. Remember correctly, it's pretty cheap to buy fuel here, so I may do some of that, but it is kind of the only shop around, regularly anyway. If we go into our gazetteer here, factory engines roar like false lions, blood thunders in the dock pipes, crimson lightning skitters across the deck, leaps to the rail, curls there like a cat. The city is reflected in glassy calm harbor water. The citizens there have the heads of dogs and serpents. Hell has brought freedom to the Iron Republic, freedom from all laws, even those of nature. So, we cannot listen. We could engage the irrepressible cannoneer, which we'll revisit in just a moment. We could allow shore leave, which may not be a great idea, to allow your sailors shore leave in a client state of hell. We've got the Market of Hungers, the Parliament of Flies. The Market of Hungers, with its spires and sigils, is it a parody of the bazaar? Today, flies fill its arcades. Buzz, buzz. We can compile a port report. It won't be entirely straightforward. The streets won't lie straight, and the ink freezes whenever you look away from the inkwell. And we could try, though we aren't going to be able to do it, to fund a Tittering Artificers project. This one is particularly interesting. Nearly ready? Yes, nearly ready. I need more. You can have the prototype when it's done. Take it, kill with it. I want to see what damage you can do. Ammunition will be difficult. It will cost you so much. But the weapon, oh, the weapon! It gives you a forward-mounted weapon with unusual characteristics. It's fairly expensive, so we certainly won't be doing that right this instant. But, maybe sometime soon, we'll see. Thank you. Did you like my tittering there? I tried to titter as well as I could. I mean, it is in the name, after all, the Tittering Artificer. So, let's compile our port report first. I think that's probably a pretty good one. We have the requisite Iron Republic Days level, so let's do that. New passions. The sensations of the Republic are overwhelming. This is a desire for years. That is a hatred for fountains. Here is an emotion that can only be expressed mathematically. Now you are awash with a nostalgia for the hatching of the egg. Write it down. Write it all down. Perhaps you'll be rid of it. The Parliament of Flies is open for business, out with the old laws, in with the new. We gained a tale of terror. Recall it, then light a candle. Light another. We gained a memory of distant shores. At the university and in the tomb colonies, they'll pay well for stories of far lands. We have our port report. A concept is a brick. It can be used to build a courthouse of reason, or it can be thrown through the window. I do like that. That's good prose. And, shockingly, we have gained 2 hearts. That is quite a windfall for a port report. Heading back in here, we still have our option for the Irrepressible Cannoneer, which I'll still come back to in a moment. First, though, let's head to the Parliament of Flies. You can see that we now have Iron Republic Days 1 instead of 0. And this will maybe incremented again, but here we go, to the Parliament of Flies. A new day comes. Visit the Shops tab. After this visit, the Parliament will no longer be here. The Republic will seek zoop and supplies instead. The Cavalry Doctrine is open for business. We've gained a terror and a fragment. So here we go. Now, our shops have changed. Fuel is still cheap, thankfully, but we do have the ability to buy parabola linen, as well as to trade very expensive things for other very expensive things. We could sell Scintillac if we had any, and romantic literature if we had any. The flies will caress you with their wings. Hurry up and purchase something. A house of pleasures. I believe this is a little thumbnail picture of a maggot holding a rose, which is not going to think about that. Definitely not going to think about that. Anything sows wants parabola linen? Yeah, I'm guessing that would appeal to someone with your username. Who plucks the flax from the banks of rivers that flow through sleep? Is the description there. While we're here, we've got some very expensive things we can look at here. A dread surmise. The awful daring of a moment's supposition which an age of ignorance can never deny. Dramatic. And then, of course, Judgment's Egg. Is this a soul? It's pale and bright. Souls like this, they say, are the spores of strange gods. And then there's Scintillac, coral that glimmers as if moonlit. It makes marvelous jewelry, or terribly expensive tea. And romantic literature. All the adventures of the heart are here, in prose, poetry, or pictorial form. Some may be more suitable for private consumption. Note: in London, customs duty is paid on love stories, even illustrated love stories. So, there isn't perhaps a ton to do here, of course, other than have a look at our irrepressible cannoneer. Citizen, are you looking for a gunner? I'm looking for a ship. Here are my references. Here are more references. Here's my design for a whistling shell. Here's my colleague. He'll stay on shore. Here's my hand. Will you take it? The cannoneer is a gunnery officer who substantially increases iron. So we would need to have our stories await you, as well as 20 echoes, in order to get the irrepressible cannoneer. The only thing we could really otherwise use our something awaits you is on advancing the store to the next set of rules, which don't particularly want ahead of a relatively cheap gunnery officer. Not that we don't like our Longshanks gunner, but 20 echoes for substantial upgrade may be worth it. So let's go ahead and grab our irrepressible cannoneer. Welcome aboard. Oh, this is interesting. Room for improvement? There's always room for improvement. Wait, let me make notes. Paper! We now have our irrepressible cannoneer. Cheery enthusiasm is a welcome but unnerving trait in a gunner. Which is a really good little bit of prose there as well. So let's head over to our officers, and our irrepressible cannoneer here has iron +8, which is a 7 iron sort of upgrade here. So let's go ahead and throw that on. All right. No ships in the shipyard here. I don't remember if that's something that can change with the out with the old laws and with the new. I'm going to, let's see. We have 19 cargo space, so I won't buy a lot of fuel, but it's hard to feel like you ever have too much, especially when it's cheap. So I'm going to buy 4. There we go. And now we should be pretty good on fuel for a decent little run here. But I think it's time to say goodbye to the Iron Republic and be on our way. Ever southward. Here is our chart. You can see where we went north and looped around and then kind of came back south. And now we're going to head south even further. Trying to manage our terror, which is currently at 12. The terror of this Z is less here. And find some place we can pick up some supplies. We're not dire on them yet because we have a relatively small crew complement. We discovered the Mercurius Deep, which is terrifying. And we did take a little damage from a Gilliflower at the end of last time. So we're going to be trying to be careful here about that. Thread our way past some buoys to keep our terror as low as possible. Though, you know, as possible is kind of a thing. Trying to train myself to use my chart a little bit less. Let me send out our Z-Bat, see if we've got anything nearby. No islands within the Z-Bat's range. Shocking. I don't think I found anything with the Z-Bat yet. Distant bells. Something awaits you in port. Let's see. This looks like a relatively friendly vessel, so hopefully we will not be attacked anytime soon here. Stay close to land to keep our terror low when we can. And go back south a little bit. Oh, there's a lantern buoy. Let's do that. We discovered Rainer's Vortex. 50 fragments. I think we probably don't want to get too close to anything called a vortex. Oh, good. A critter. A behemostache. It's got a lot of hit points. I am going to do my best to just run away. God, I love this music, though. Yeah, we're not doing a ton of damage to that. Hopefully we can get far enough away. Aha! A port. The Carnelian coast. Far to the south, the Neath roof glimmers above a mountain of light. Discover Royalius Bluff. And on the horizon, a sickly yellow light glimmers for a moment, then fades. We discovered Port Carnelian. Here we are. It is huge. All right, and safe for now. All right. Fallen London's sole imperial possession, treasure it. We have the Submariner, the Fierce Philanthropist, and Port Carnelian, as well as our little Submariner tutorial. So, we're here for the Zub. Steamer-sized catfish indeed. All right. Her house is built in the tall, porticoed London style, red brick and white plaster, decorative iron railings painted black. Its mistress is the subject of intense colonial gossip, independently wealthy, an industrialist's daughter, a widow, unwelcome in London. What, then, does she want with you? An invitation arrived as soon as you docked. Accept her invitation. It wouldn't hurt to have the backing of a wealthy benefactor, and this will begin the quest which allows you to obtain a submarine. So let's do that. You expected a sizable gathering, but it's just you, her, and a decanter of admirable sherry. I would like some admirable sherry. She's not a small woman, and comprehensively occupies her armchair. She wears sensible satins and sensible shoes. Her hair is impeccably curled. I've heard a number of shocking things about you, citizen, all of which I consider thoroughly promising. Her accent has a hint of Midlands melancholy to it. She must have spent much of her life on the surface. Well, I did not do a Midlands accent, as it turns out. For a time, she asks you about your travels and listens avidly to your answers. Then she gets down to business. I think the game music may be a little too loud. Well, I will try to remedy that as soon as I'm done with the Gazetteer here. Thank you for letting me know. So let's see. We can... Oh, new text. A question, citizen. She tops up her sherry. Some years ago, the nations of the Neath struck an agreement to abandon their research into submarine travel and leave the Z-depths untouched. Ah, the agreement about nothing of consequence. Sailors mutter about it when listening to the listing the Admiralty's follies. You nod. She raises her glass to her lips. And what is your opinion on this agreement? She asks. We could scoff about it. It's a nonsense. Nowhere should be forbidden to the capable explorer. Or approve of it. It's probably for the best. The Z's surface is bad enough. God knows what unpleasantness lies below. Well, we are intrepid and capable explorers who fear nothing, at least for now, because our terror is pretty low. So, let's scoff about the nonsense. A new friend. Her smile is conspiratorial. Then we can help each other. I am prepared to finance, in a large part, improvements to your ship that will make it capable of submarine travel. The Admiralty and other powers disapprove of such innovation. Therefore, we will need to be discreet. I have procured experts, laborers, and a workshop. They are well paid and loyal. Here is the address. Meet us there and we can begin our work. The Fierce Philanthropist will help you convert your ship to a submarine at her hidden workshop. That nice plosive there for us. Here we are, the hidden workshop. On the shore of a gloomy inlet stands a rickety factory. Once, and supposedly still, it was committed to the cutting and polishing of sapphires. Now it is the place where the Fierce Philanthropist houses her intrepid staff of engineers, the ingenious men and women who will convert your ship into a submarine. Phase 1. Contribute nautical know-how. Some contribute ingenuity, others graft. What you contribute is hard-won, hands-on experience of the Z itself. We could spin Z stories to increase our modifications. We don't have that. Phase 1, provide additional funding, specifically apply bribes that the philanthropist cannot be associated with. So we could spend echoes, 75 of them, which may not be a bad deal, but we don't have a ton to spare. Could donate a mysterious device. Heretofore its purpose was mysterious, but the chief engineer insists it's precisely what they need. So we could sacrifice an outlandish artifact. We could donate Stygian ivory. It's dark as the belly of the Z, and correctly treated, harder than iron. We could contribute advanced theory, sacrificing extraordinary implication. These idiots don't have the first idea about what they're doing. Enlighten them. And then once we get to phase 2, we could retrieve a set of sonar schematics. The engineers have reached an impasse. It's a sonar. It's unreliable, loud, and stops working below 70 fathoms. But the Admiralty and the Connate must have cracked this back in the day. And at the moment, we're going to have to leave the workshop. Its noise, its arguments, its overwhelming smell of oil and peppermints. Because we don't have too much that we can contribute. You close the door behind you. Back to Port Carnelian. The hubbub, the pungent scent of the fungal jungle. That's fun to say. the low rumble as tigers pad by on the street. All right. We will deal with Port Carnelian in just a moment. In the meantime, let us adjust our music volume, if we can, to be a little bit on the lower side. I do enjoy the music, but we don't want it to drown out my dulcet tones. I'm just kidding. My tones have never been accused of being dulcet. Here goes. Port Carnelian. London's first Untersee colony sweats under a blanket of southern heat. To the right of the dock, the sapphire mines yawn. To the left, the governor's house stands, prim as an Elderwick mansion. Behind lies the fungal jungle, ghostly in white and violet. Let's see, we cannot currently assist a specialized collector. A dapper gentleman lounges by a shoot of flowers, admiring butterflies with a predatory gleam in his eye. Would you help him find the quarry of a lifetime? I believe we need our submarine first. We could visit Murgatroyd's Imperial Tea Shop. Behind the windows, spoons clink on china. This would help to reduce our terror, I believe. We could call at Hartscross House, where the governor administers this distant fleck of Her Majesty's empire. That would give us our port report, it seems, as well as interact with how powerful Port Carnelian is in the Neath. We could talk to a tiger in the Blue Bazaar. The Carnelian coast's padding natives are eloquent, placid, and acerbic, most of the time. We could get a port report there. We could call at a room above a bookshop. The diplomats of the Khanate were expelled from Port Carnelian following the Galatia incident. Galatia? Not sure. I think Galatia. Only one remains behind, not in the official capacity, you understand. We could pan for sapphires in the fungal jungle with our iron, which would give us a 31% chance of success, so we may pass on that for now. Somewhere in its heart runs a river of shining stones. We could attempt to influence affairs in Port Carnelian if we had networks, but we do not. I just love the fungal jungle as well. We could insinuate an agent into Port Carnelian, had we a diplomatic agent to do so. The place is thick with spies. Who would notice another? Once your agent is in place, you can tap your network for information or use it to influence affairs here. So eventually, we should be able to influence affairs in Port Carnelian, but currently, maybe not so much. Let's see. If we're going to get a port report, we can go to the governor's administration, we can go to the bazaar, or we can talk to the Khanate official who's not here in any particular capacity. I don't remember exactly what goes on in each of those, but I like the idea of talking to a tiger because it's talking to a tiger. So we're going to do that one. Trouble abroad. The Blue Bazaar is Port Carnelian's great indoor market, arched, lofty, plush, with patterned carpets where the vendors display their wares. Most of all, awash with gossip. The tiger chats about the banded prince, their supposed monarch, and his palace deep in the jungle. You lever the conversation under the state of his people. He has no complaints, he says. Not even about the recent reinstatement of the travel restrictions on the natives, nor the report of a tiger killed at the jungle's edge. His tail flicks. And we got our port report. That's going to be about all that we can do here for now. Let's see. There is the Clattery Heart available here, though not currently, because we do not have the deed to the Clattery Heart, but it thrums, it wanders, it has a delightful stink. This ship is available to players who backed Sunless Sea at the Navigator tier or higher. It will become available later as DLC. Believe that was where I backed it when it was coming out. But either way, I do know that I have access to it, whether it was a DLC or not. And then our shops. We've got the Dockside Market. The stalls are almost the same as Wolfstack. So are the sounds. The scents are utterly different. We've got Solace Fruit. In smaller quantities, delightful and refreshing. In larger quantities, one of the very nicest ways to die. They are expensive, but sound perhaps worth it. We have relatively cheap supplies, honestly, so we're going to probably grab a few of those in just a moment. And then we have fuel. The Port Carnelian Market, not just sapphires, although there are quite a lot of sapphires, like at the Sapphire Exchange. Actually, this place is indeed mostly sapphires. So we could buy a casket of sapphires for 86 echoes, a mountain sherd for 2,000. This was struck from the side of the mountain of light, who is the god called Stone. It is holy. Treat it accordingly. If you don't treat it as holy, it can still be sold as a captivating treasure. Our casket of sapphires. It was the laconic general who named the Carnelian coast. Then she discovered it was full of sapphires. Imagine her embarrassment. A sack of dark drop coffee beans, all the fire of hell and all the aroma of heaven. Again, purchasable. Let's see. Cask of mushroom wine, the finest output of the Greyfields shroom yards, and some more romantic literature. These are things that can be sold here, but not bought. So, on that note, let's buy us some supplies. There we go. Up to 7 seems good. Still have a little over 300 echoes. Nothing to write home about, but, you know, good enough. In case we forgot from last time, actually, while we're here, our ambition is to essentially cheat death. And we've made some acquaintances and gotten some objectives. We also have Storm's attention, and Ancient Anger knows you, so that's probably fine. But yeah, this is where all of our little bits and pieces are listed, as well as the visits we've made and how advanced we are here. Our hold, we are on the Neath quest. We have a whisper-locked puzzle box. Yeah. All right. Now, let's have a look at our chart real quick. So this is what we know, and, you know, I try not to use too much of my foreknowledge, especially since I don't think I can rely upon it very well, but I do know that, and I feel okay saying, the further east you go, and the further out of the middle you go, the more dangerous things typically get, though there are some exceptions. Note that I have not gone to the southwestern corner of the map. There are a few things that are in relatively fixed locations, particularly around the outside of the map, but things in the middle and in the upper corner here, well, not the very upper corner, but anyway, tend to move around within limits. So I think we probably shall go northerly and a little bit further east and try to fill in some of our chart nearer to the western edge here before we start venturing out. I really do need to, you know, eventually gather enough echoes to replace this ship. But I also just, I play this very much as an exploration and a game and a role-playing game, much more so than a commerce simulator. So I am suboptimal in my play for sure. But once I've gotten some things kind of charted, then maybe I'll start hauling some cargo as well now and then. So yes, let's head north, as chat would have it. The sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun. All right. Let's try to keep clear of that behemoth stash if we can. All right, we discovered Velton's vortex, so that's probably something else to try to avoid. Ooh, big one. Fed our crew. Got a little closer to it than I wanted to. But not too bad. Right. This part where you're just zailing with the sound of your engine and the sound of the cave and occasionally music coming in, or your iron clanking as you enter combat is a deeply enjoyable but also deeply eerie. On the surface, the sun still warms the earth, or so one assumes. The Z here is warm, bubbles rise and burst with lazy menace. The fire in the earth is restless. Oh, good lord. A rat barge. Great. Probably a doable challenge, but not one I'm really looking forward to doabling. Take a moment and probably some fuel. If you are unfamiliar with this setting, this is indeed a barge crewed by rats. And not even like giant ones, really, just smart ones. I did used to be good at this. This is a little bit better. I managed to get behind them a bit. Keep them directly in your light. Your firing solution is faster. And if you stay out from their arcs of fire, they can't target you. But it is easier said than done. Come on, like 2 or 3 more shots. Ooh, just one, just one. Yes, come on. Ah, gotcha. You've destroyed a rat barge. The ship is yours. What will you do with her? Loot and scuttle her. She's a vile old vessel and the Z's aren't safe. Take what you can and move on seems to be the answer here. Lean pickings. These pinnaces don't sail far from their hidden harbors, but there's something here at the back of the hold. You finished opening a cache of curiosities. What's inside? Some sort of barrel. Tap the bung carefully. It's a cask of wine. In the flaring light, it's Z-dark, but the taste is the darkness of autumn. Mushroom wine. An acquired taste, perhaps, but once you've acquired it, who'd go back to grapes? Nasty little bubbles of goo. Grapes. So we have a cask of mushroom wine. Nasty little bubbles of goo, indeed. Alright, so we did take some damage, and I'm not super thrilled about it. But also, there's not too much we can do about it right this instant, so we're just going to have to try to be careful. I did mention a number of times last time I streamed that this is likely to be a captain that ends up at the bottom of the Z. We also lost a crew member, which I didn't realize at first. Let's use our Z-Bat, see what we can find. The waves are cluttered with Z-Rack, like drowned hair drifting. And there were no islands in the Z-Bat's range. Shocking. Just going to keep sending a little bugger out here and there. Some little islands here, but nothing terribly useful, honestly. Our terror is building, but slowly. I'm managing to keep it at like slow accumulation rather than fast accumulation. But I'm also drifting a little further west than I want to. So no, another Jilly floor. See if we can't... Oh, hey, we found Pick Mode Isle! So if we can survive this Jilly floor, which is honestly not looking particularly likely at the moment. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, I was hoping you would die. Ooh, not good, not good. There we go. That was scary. Perhaps you can eat it. Better yet, perhaps your sailors can. We have a strange catch. A spreading stain. It's gone, but you're left with gooey gloves and a buttery smell. And this purple thing, is it an egg? A heart? A less fortunate traveler dissolved and shriveled to mauve ruin? Put it somewhere safe. Our strange catch is, it might be some sort of fish, but best not to look too closely. It seems like we may be having problems showing up for some people. So let me let me put us on standby here for just a moment, and then we'll see if we can make this work for everybody. All right, so yeah, we'll be right back. Drat. Turns out my sound was not back for the time there where I was back and everything was working. So, unfortunately, I don't have any way to re-go over the very few important parts there, but we have arrived on Pigmote Island. Where we are about to, we've got the sounds of war in the distance and about to talk to two tiny figures standing a little further down the quay, unmoving as if awaiting our approach. Here goes. A literary interlude. The following is an extract from the popular Diary of a Sea Captain from London to Irem and what we did there before we arrived, washed ashore on Mutton Island, and subsequently serialized into the Unexpurgated Gazette. The author's identity remains unknown. The Tale of Pigmote Isle, in which a delegation is made, a choice is presented, war is declared, a most singular treasure is sought by all, and a new empire is founded with tooth and claw. Chapter 1. The Delegation. The figures were rodents, To my left was a ratus faber wearing goggles, a blacksmith's apron, and an assortment of tools. To my right, an unusually large guinea pig wearing a helmet and a breastplate reminiscent of nothing so much as the High Middle Ages. The rat stepped forward first and bowed.
"Welcome, Captain, to Rat Star Island. I'm Edgar, Second Chief Engineer of the 3rd Rat Brigade. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice."
The rat stepped back. At precisely the same moment, with what appeared to be the ease of long habit, the guinea pig scuttled forward and made a declamatory chirp.
"Welcome, Captain, to the Isle of Caviar. I am Lady Augusta Devereux Swinch of the Blackwater Swinches, Seneschal to our King Gracenaw, first of his name. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice."
The two stood at attention, looking back at me expectantly. Chapter 2. Alike in Dignity. The two remarkable rodents sat, squatted, both seeking my support. I knew I had to choose carefully. I can speak to the chief engineer. His eyes had a wave-cold glint to them, and he wore his scars like jewels. I can speak to the seneschal. How did an armored guinea pig manage to look regal? Or I am ready to make my choice. Let's speak to them both. A rat in the making. I asked the chief engineer to elaborate. He looked at me for a long, measured moment before speaking gruffly. Boy, I'm going to have to try to do a rat voice that is gruff.
"We came to this isle to make a home for ourselves away from London. It's cats and snuffers, it's rat-skin suits. We came to live as citizens of our own republic. We came with our tools, our teeth, our clever hands, and we made a beautiful city by the light of the rat star that shone bright and blue on Mount Ararat."
I forgot about the mountain. This is a fun game, everybody. You should play this game. It's great. The chief engineer nodded towards the distant hill.
"One day we braved the depths of the chicken woods, and from the tops of Mount Ararat we plucked the rat star to be our light, our beacon. But the pigs of Cavi saw the light, and they lusted for it. They sent armies to rule us and steal our star. We will not permit them to take what's ours. We will resist to our last breath. Will you join us in defeating them?"
Now let's see what the seneschal has to say. A night out of habit. The seneschal cleared her throat with a delicacy to rival the Duchess's own before speaking.
"Gracenaw is the king, our lord and sovereign. Full 7 months had sojourned on the sea, conquered this land, and won the southern main. Now no fortress against him shall remain, no city walls be left for him to gain, save the rats that squeak behind mountain. Unlikely was the lamb of our deliverance, assured shall be our glories and their fall, when our lady's eye restored be to our hall."
The seneschal composed herself, then added,
"We sought the truth and beauty by the light of our lady's eye on Mount Caveat. But the rats, with their guns and their chatter and their peasants' politics, stole it from us. We will subjugate them and take it back. They are a rabble, and we will rule them with the steel-shod velvet of our paws. Will you join us?"
Well, I have heard more than enough, and I am ready to make my choice. Anybody who happens to listen to the podcast, Dice Punks, will not be surprised by my choice here. As you can well imagine, I faced quite a dilemma. Their red eyes stared up at me, waiting for my choice. So I can side with the chief engineer. He seemed grumpy but honest. Also, I knew all too well what rat-made weapons can do. Or I favored the seneschal. Was it her charm or a fondness for London's rat-skin coats that swayed me? Perhaps a little of both. At any rate, I was keen to find out more about their civilization. Or I can attempt to broker a peace. Surely their commonalities were more numerous than their differences. Perhaps I could help them get along. I am not interested in compromise between unrepentant aristocrats And the downtrodden here, I'm siding with the chief engineer of the rats. From what I remember, Drask, peace is not actually an option. Attempting to broker peace is an option. And if you choose that option, they both get annoyed with you and then force you to choose anyway. I may be misremembering, but also, again, the rats are the superior choice here, I think, for my purposes anyway. A friend to rats. I extended a finger to the chief engineer, who shook it grimly. The seneschal hissed and chattered her teeth in disgust, but kept her distance.
You made the right choice, said the chief engineer. Let me show you around.
So we get a fuel and a supplies, and we get memoirs, A Rat in the Making at 1. We chose to help the rats on Pigmoat Isle. So continuing. Chapter 3, A Rat in the Making. The chief engineer led me to the northern side of the island, skirting the chicken woods. We passed through a number of what can only be termed checkpoints, as fierce-eyed rats shouldered their derringers and saluted the chief engineer. Soon we came upon a small colony, smaller than some of the infestations I had encountered in London flats, perhaps only 50 ratus faber altogether, working diligently to fortify their side of the island. The first thing I noticed was a brilliant light beaming out from a stump of chicken wood about 6 feet high. It bathed the whole settlement in a clean blue glow, and was almost too bright to look at. By its light I could see several raised mounds of earth, suggesting shallow tunnels. An efficient fishing operation was set up by the water, an albino rat mending nets while others stabbed sharpened sticks into the waves. Further inland was a barracks where a sergeant barked drills at a small squadron of fighters. My arrival drew attention, and several rats paused in their work to look at me curiously.
Welcome to Meridia,
The chief engineer voice said the chief engineer, voice warm with pride.
It's not much to look at now, but it will be once we've rousted the cavies. Take a stroll around while I summon the war council.
With that, he vanished into one of the mounds and left me to explore. So we can visit each of these little bits and pieces, which I think is, no reason not to do all of them. So I visited the rats' barracks. The drill sergeant appeared to be sizing me up. Were the few rats around her really all she had to launch an attack? We were fighting impressive odds. I approached the drill sergeant and went so far as to salute her, which earned me a grunt of satisfaction. The sergeant dismissed her troops and offered me a bit of chickenwood jerky to gnaw on.
There's more of us below ground, she explained, but not enough. The cavies are bigger and there's more of them. We're better with weapons, but we haven't got the stuff to make them with. Most of us came here as stowaways and brought nothing but food, tools, and fur on our backs. We can fish and we can nibble the chicken woods, but we can't make guns out of trees. The cavies come with their own steamer and seem to have endless supplies. We raid them sometimes, but there's so few of us, and we can never hold on to territory gained for long. But that's of no consequence. All we want is to be left in peace to build our republic. And the Rat Star, she added thoughtfully after a moment. Of course, we want that too.
Let's see. Back to our previous page, so let's take a closer look at the Rat Star. An excitable-looking rat was peering at it through smoky goggles, twitching her whiskers and making notes, on what appeared to be real paper. Blue as a sapphire, but endlessly more brilliant.
It's not a star, of course, not really, but try to explain that to the others. The chief engineer doesn't want me working too hard to convince them. Says this is better for morale, but look at it. Look!
She offered me her goggles. I managed to work them over just enough of one of my eyes to see the truth of what she was studying. It was scintillac, but unlike any I'd ever seen before. Blue as a sapphire, but more brilliant. Something about the clarity of its color was tremendously soothing. The chief science officer tittered with pleasure as I handed her goggles back.
Those of us who've been to the Cavi side of the island and lived to tell of it say that there's plenty of glow there, plenty of bright in the water all around, but nothing like this. We took this from the island's center, Mount Ararat. Only it's not a mountain, of course, any more than this is a star. It's hollow. There's sweet water inside and coral crawling up the walls of it, but nothing that glows, save this. It's ours now, and no one can take it from us.
And head down to the beach. Who ever heard of a rat mending a net? Where the green billows played. An albino rat smiled up at me from his mending work, looking dainty and a little shy.
Chickenwood floats, especially when it's dried out and sealed, so we're able to paddle out a bit and cast our nets. We come up with all sorts of things. Blind fish, crabs, sometimes a chunk of broken tentacle. But the fishing would never be so good without the rat star. He beamed. I think it only draws good fish and keeps the scary ones at bay. But I know the chief science officer doesn't believe it, but I do. It's our livelihood.
All right. So we've gotten a look at the settlement, so let's finish our exploration. The bells of the War Council rang. I was summoned. Chapter 4, A Vital Enterprise. The chief engineer emerged from underground with a motley assortment of other rats. He introduced them as weapons experts, strategists, and field commanders.
So you're going to help us beat the cavies,
he said, a hard edge to his voice.
But how exactly?
I can offer my strategic assistance using veils, or determine to take the lead with iron, or offer nothing but my advice. So it's a 58% chance versus a 76% chance, which I think the choice is clear there. But for the flavor, if we offer strategic assistance, we engineered a distraction that the LBs could use to plunder the Cavi's ship and turn the tide in their favor. Or I had a ship, I had cannons. We would steer her to the southern side of the island and have at those uppity animals. Or, if we just offer advice, the king took it in desperation, if not gratitude. Excuse me. The Veils challenge is obviously more in our favor. Also, if I remember correctly, LBs is short for Little Bastards, which is a sort of alternate name for the Ratisfaber. If I'm misremembering, Chad, feel free to correct me. So let's offer our strategic assistance. A questing beast. I dressed up one of me sailors in a mess of shabby cloth, smeared with prisoner's honey, and instructed him to roll around in the black earth of the island. Soon we had a glorious mud monster to send thrashing through the chicken woods toward the Cavies. The distraction worked perfectly. The Cavies diverted their force toward our makeshift beast, leaving the rats with very little opposition as they plundered the grounded ship. They returned triumphant, as did my sailor, laughing, having led the Cavies a merry chase. Within a few hours, the rats' diligence had resulted in the building of a remarkable cache of weapons with which they successfully routed their enemy. The rats, ever egalitarian, shared their spoils in addition to the promised food and fuel. So we succeeded in a Veils challenge. Hail Morinia! 2 houses, both alike in dignity. Not that this is saying much, mind. An occurrence. Pigmode Isle Might is 4, vulnerable. Pigmode Island Civilization is 5, unexceptional. Pigmode Island Spirit is 3, conflicted. We have 4 bales of parabola linen. You hear that? Anything so's? We got some. And 1 scintillac, as well as 10 fuel. So our hold is quite full at this point. So, Chapter 5, A Nation is Born. With only due respect, yeah. That's a really good one. The house of Cavi had fallen. Morinia was triumphant. All that remained were the celebrations and the continuation of our voyage. Oh, how we feasted into the night. Then, I invited one of the Ratisfaber to join us. After all, what's a ship without a few rats? We could get an albino tinkerer there. I interceded on behalf of the Cavies. They were crushed, defeated, and I could see their spirits broken without the light of the rat star to guide them. They needed an advocate. So we could intercede on the Cavies' behalf. Or we could go ahead and leave. I don't know if we are picking between these or not. But seeing as I already have 2 mascots, just in case we are picking, I'm going to go ahead and intercede on behalf of the Cavies. They're defeated, but one should be gracious in victory. A grudging concession. I appealed to the chief engineer's moral fortitude and sense of fair play. Perhaps the Cavies suffered the loss of the light from the center of the island. Perhaps they were only trying to get it back, not steal it from the rats. The chief engineer looked troubled at the thought. We only wanted to be left alone, he said. He looked toward the seneschal, haphazardly bandaged among the rats' prisoners. Perhaps further negotiation is possible? As I left, I saw the albino rat timidly offering a young Cavi prisoner a piece of fresh fish. You forged peace between the rats and the Cavies. The spirit is now 6, optimistic. Aha! And we can invite one of the Ratisfaber to join us still. Welcome aboard. The chief engineer couldn't leave his colony, but he relayed my request to his people. The albino rat I saw mending nets shyly stepped forward.
I'm good at fixing things, he said earnestly, and I'd like to see more of the world.
I waited for him to gather up some effects and say goodbye to his family before accompanying him on board. We now have one albino tinkerer, but it did cost us one civilization on the island. Still, probably fine. The wide dark sea beckoned. We had eaten our fill and our business was concluded. It was time to continue our voyage and see what other wonders and terrors still awaited us. The end. There, you finish your diary entry and the final dregs of the rat's surprisingly good wine. They line up to salute you as you leave the victory banquet, escorting you to your ship through the foundations of their new republic. We now have a port report for Pigmode Isle. And our hunger quality has gone, and a new nation has been founded. Time passes on the Neath's most adorable empire. So let's see. We can now visit Marinia here. So we've got the rise of Pigmode Isle. Hail, Marinia! The Neath's most adorable nation scurries around your legs. Scintillac harvesters drag heavy bags of the island's bounty to their silos. Industrious rodents work hard on towering edifices, some of them almost neck high. London will never believe a bloody word of this. So we cannot currently help Marinia resolve a dilemma because we lack something awaits you when you next arrive in port. We can request repairs for 135 echoes. Raise Pigmode Isle civilization for better prices, yeah. These rats will board even a sinking ship, provided the crew is willing to carry some of the heavier tools. We could try to steal the Rat Star, though I don't really want to do that, and it seems mean. And of course, we would have an 18% chance of success, which is pretty low. So, officer-wise, the albino tinkerer adds 2 veils, though I don't think that outweighs our 3 mirrors and 2 pages from a Brummagem Gallivanter just yet. We can't really talk, can't really speak to our Ratisfaber, but hey. We need one. No ships, no shops. So, onward we go. Never stealing from my rat friends. Just noting that the option was there. Also, hello, Den. Good to see you. All right, so, let's have a look at our chart. We came up north to almost level with the Kamayan Canal. We'll sort of head north in the general direction of Gator's Morn, hopefully avoiding fights. I guess we probably should angle back to Fallen London for repairs at this point, because otherwise we're going to be taking an adorable rat to the bottom of the sea with us at this point if we do that. So, here goes. At least our supplies and fuel are doing reasonably well, thanks to our exploits on Pigmode Isle. And hey, we can hopefully help them out next time we visit and get an adorable little empire up and running. Let's see, head vaguely in the direction of Mutton Island here. Just chug along here. Discovered the western angler crab from the snares. Oh god, no. Leave me be! Leave me be! Please! No! Oh. Okay. Let's get gone, shall we? I don't want to die. Please do not kill me, Mr. Crab. The Labyrinth of Eels. Good lord, do I not want to ever go somewhere called the Labyrinth of Eels. How awful. Laughter from the foredeck. And of course there are no islands in the Z-Bat's range, but we are far enough from the crab for it to be all clear. Let's check our heading. Whew. We can't dock at the Labyrinth of Eels, but I would not be surprised if there were some submarine activities there. And to answer your question, Den, I am most likely going to sell the linen. We have discovered the Sisterhood. Let's see, I should pause while I do this. Shepherd's Wash, the salty hinterland of London, home to hermits, nuns, and a shadowy business. And discovered Abbey Rock. So let's see what we can do here. The Sisterhood. The anti-Vake nunnery. To my knowledge, the Vake does not appear in this game, so we will lack that context, but they do remain rather, I'll go with delightful here at Abbey Rock. We also discovered Westergren's Fire, and we got the glassy chop of dark water, the iron clatter of feet at the hatchway. So, here, the Grim Sisters' lair. Abbey Rock, a black spit of an island far from anywhere anyone will want to go, and that's how the Sisterhood likes it. Here stands their fortress convent. Here, there are bear traps that look friendlier than this. So we can trade supplies. Resources are limited on this bleak rock. The Sisterhood will pay a fair price for supplies, not a good price, mind. So if you have extras, you can spend 20 echoes. We can wait and watch the convent with our Something Awaits You. We can offer a gift, not that we have one. Can search the surroundings with our beginner's luck, which we still currently have. Let's see. Well, let's definitely compile our port report. As always, it's unlikely to be eventful. Nothing is happening. The sisters watch us. We feel their eyes. The seas crash on the rocks, withdraws. Or the sea crashes on the rocks and withdraws. The fortress stands stolid as the last year of a century. The greatest peril you risk here is a certain purpleness of prose. Let's see. We might as well watch the convent, wait a while and see. Let's see what comes up there. Exotic refuse. The convent is silent. A few lights prick its bulk. Bells sound the times of prayer. You're almost ready to give up when a side door opens. 4 nuns march out carrying something wrapped in a blanket and fling it into the sea. You creep down to examine it. It's likely unidentifiable even before the nuns used it for weapons practice. Now it leaks fluid from a dozen puncture wounds, but it still smells of the Z. So we got another strange catch, and that's all for now. Does Sunless Sea not follow the Z convention? It does. I guess, except sometimes. It does call it the Z for the most part. Let's see. We've got some recent news, and I don't know what else I'd do with it on this particular leg of the voyage, so let's see if they find it valuable. Brief attention. The muscular prioress, the abbess's lieutenant, comes to the door to listen. She nods and makes notes. She pays particular attention to news of marsh beast predations and the traffic of the rooftops. In return, she offers a rather perfunctory blessing, but the blessing reassures your crew. So, we lost 2 terror. Nothing particularly important there. No shops, no ships. Let's leave them to their certainly necessary martial arts training, shall we? Oh, god damn it, not another Jilly Floor. No, I don't want to fight you. I'm gonna die. Come on. Just stay away. Oh, alright. Come on, don't follow me. Home waters. Sailors dawdle at the rail, watching the lights of London. I swear, if I died at this Jilly Floor within sight of London. Oh! 13 hull left. Oh. Well, they're going to be expensive repairs, but expensive repairs are better than sinking beneath the waves. A false star flares in the roof, cavern roof directly above you, flares and fades. Whew. All right, let's head to Wolfstack Docks. All right, here we are. An inspection by the Ministry of Public Decency. Some things are too illegal for the Customs Service to admit the existence of. The Ministry are here looking for those. Well, we have nothing to hide. We shrug and invite them to search our ship as thoroughly as they would like. Because we don't have any red honey, nor gift for the Pirate King, so they don't have anything they'd be worried about. Fun thing, the most recent sort of standalone game in this setting, Mask of the Rose, has a conversation in it which appears to be the genesis of the Ministry of Public Decency, which I was both amused and appalled by when it happened. So let's go. Nothing to hide. You shrug and invite them to search. They leave scuff marks on the newly scrubbed decks and take great pleasure in tangling the rigging. They find nothing more dangerous than a moldy ship's biscuit. I intend to, at some point, stream some of Mask of the Rose. So we've lost one of our two suspicion here, which is good, because it makes us less comparatively likely to be inspected like this. I love the music in this game, y'all. Returning to London, the lights of London welcome you home. Collect messages from the harbour master, all the clatter and song of the dockside. It soothes the soul. Are there messages for you? So we have under 50 terror, so we are going to lose, I think, some of it. And then get some messages. What's this? Let's see. Something has changed in the Neath. Someone wants to sign on. The blind bruiser attends to business on the dock. That's all for now. We have a free evening, and the rose market hasn't changed. A little proposal from the blind bruiser.
Good evening, citizen. What a marvellous evening it is, if you don't mind me saying so. And given it is my impression you are an obliging sort, I imagine you'll not mind at all. And since you are so very obliging, perhaps you wouldn't mind making a little detour via Mount Palmerston with a few articles of cargo, if you happen to be in the area. The Cherry Man will, of course, cover your expenses for this trifling inconvenience.
So we have at least one unit of space in our hold. We can accept the commission. After all, it is only a trifling inconvenience. We can ask if there's another task we could perform instead, which has dialogue from the blind bruiser here.
I see you are hesitant. Perhaps you find Mount Palmerston unbearable, and who could blame you? Well, if you have the vinegar, there's another matter with which you might be able to assist me.
Or we could refuse. Your hold is full, your affairs are complex, Mount Palmerston is far away and full of devils. I think we're probably going to accept this. What's the worst that could happen, right? What's the worst that could happen?
If you would be so kind to deliver this little gift to our friends in Mount Palmerston, then they will see we gets to hear about it. And when you come back, we'll cover your expenses. Bon voyage, as my aunt, who was French by birth, if not by inclination, used to like to say.
So we now have one unstamped crate of brilliant souls, and we have agreed to smuggle souls from London to Mount Palmerston. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with that. This crate reads, a crate of exceptional human souls. It has never known the tender touch of the Imperial Customs stamp. Consequently, it cannot be sold on the open market, and you'd better not be caught with it. So we'll want to head to Mount Palmerston straight away, lest we trigger an inspection upon returning to London between now and then. But I'm sure it'll be fine. So here we are in Fallen London. And we have some new options as well as some old options. Yes, contraband souls. There are a variety of contraband that you can pull to devils, as well as a legitimate trade in souls, I must say. And yes, as Drask has noted, it does seem to be possible in this game to traffic the soul of Julian of Norwich. All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well, is the associated quote. So let's see what we've got here. Let's turn our port reports in, if nothing else. Yeah, I don't believe we need to be meeting with him specifically, but it's a way to get to the port reports. So let's go ahead and do that. And what is the day-to-day like on those farther shores? So we got Abbey Rock. We categorize it as a military installation, you know, although that has occasioned some quite vigorous debate. So let's do that. We got another favor, 20 echoes, 1 fuel for the first time we've done so. Combined Canal. Well, if you've been there, I suppose we might as well hear about it, though the fee is nominal. Yeah, so you just get 5 echoes, but hey, it's 5 free echoes. We can talk about Pigboat Isle. I'm not certain I heard you correctly. Are you quite certain this is the report you wish to make? So be it. We got 10 echoes, some favor, and a fuel. They don't seem to believe us, but, you know, whatever. The Iron Republic. Excuse me, I need to unlock this and this. Oops, and this. Could you place your report inside? Yes, I imagine someone will read it eventually. There's always someone. Vroomf. I know. I didn't expect that to happen. Well, perhaps it's for the best. Some reports should not be reported. No, don't concern yourself. This was my 3rd best suit, and the Admiralty offers a modest allowance for document-related damage. Perhaps it's best if you leave now, though. Good day. So we gained 5 fragments, 2 terror, 1 fuel, and no money because the port report self-destructed. And we got kicked out. That said, we can just go right back. So, we've got Port Carnelian. You know, I sometimes wonder whether that place was a good idea. I didn't say that. We got 30 echoes for that one, which is nice. Quaker's Haven. Been trying the original rubbery lumps, have we? So that's only 5. And let's see. Anything else we can do with the Admiral here? What does the Admiral need? Information. Okay, so nothing else currently, it looks like. I don't think we've met with the requisite contact just yet. A new recruit. Who awaits your attention? Let's do that one. Someone wants to sign on. They vary from time to time. We can engage the sigil-ridden navigator. Let me guide your ship. I know all the Z, how it was, how it will be. Please, the headaches only stop when I'm working. This is a first officer who increases mirrors and veils, and who is a little costly, but we did just rake in some Admiralty dough. Or we can just grab Zaylor, which is not, you know, ideal here exactly, but here we go. Let's get the sigil-ridden navigator. Welcome aboard. Thank you. Oh my god, the air, it's clearer already. Let me chart a course for you. Oh, my head. So, we have our new officer. Has that tattoo grown since last you looked? I'm going to pop on over here and put our sigil-ridden navigator for 6 mirrors and 3 veils in the first officer spot. There he goes. I'm sure he's fine. Back over here, we can go to Clathermont's Tattoo Parlor. You're a real Zaylor now, after all. You could go to one of those tobacco and prey places by the docks, and the prices at Clathermont's are reasonable, and his daughter is a real artist. But what sign will you choose? We could choose the Dauntless Hand, commemorating our daring and upping our iron. The Wheel of Mists, increasing our veils. Commemorating our skills. The Unflinching Eye. You've seen such sights. This would increase our mirrors. And the Splendor. Something to recall brighter days, increasing our hearts. The Gambit. Some of Clathermont's tattoos are coded messages for spies. Perhaps you have a hidden motive. And this will increase our pages, or rather would if we had the appropriate moves in the great game. Can't do it, sorry. And of course, if you don't want a tattoo, you can always choose to remain unblemished. I mean, I guess I could hold off Draskar Ice for the Gambit. And just come back later. I guess our terror is not that bad currently. So we'll come back to Clathermonts later. The Alarming Scholar. We've got a few things that we could trade with them. Let's see. The Alarming Scholar is mercurial, to say the least, a creature of sudden moods and provoking teeth. Possibly her. Is it her? Appointment at the University Maritime Liaison was precautionary to keep his razor-sharp enthusiasm from causing too many injuries on the faculty. Ah, yes, the scholar whispers breathily. I have a budget for acquisitions. What have you brought me? So this is where we can trade in things like memories of distant shores, Z-stories, strange catches, searing enigmas, dread surmises, extraordinary implications. And of course, we have this whisper-locked box. Cobweb silver tumblers will align if the words are right. But what are the words? Perhaps the makers of the box will know. This is an item that we got because I do have a Fallen London account and have played Fallen London and synced it with this. So let's see what the scholar has to say about the whisper-locked box. And this does have a song from El Paso Elsewhere stuck in my head now. So that's good. Oh, good. There's sound. Oh, that was... Advice from the Alarming Scholar. I have an idea where it's from, but it's a long way there, and I may be wrong. So perhaps I rather like the box. Perhaps you should simply sell it to me? So we could sell it to this Alarming Scholar for 100 echoes, or politely refuse and ask her his advice. So let's politely refuse. I would rather an adventure. Irem, I'd say. The Iremi like locks. They like puzzles. They can make things that are honestly implausible. Their city is perched on Parabola's rim like a hummingbird on the finger of a god. Go to Irem. Perhaps they can open it for you. Perhaps they can tell you how. Oh, pardon me. So that will be far to the northeast. We'll get there eventually. Let's see then. We haven't talked to the merchant venturer yet. An urchin tugs at your sleeve.
Governor wants a word.
A brooding figure waits at the lamplight's edge. Speak to the merchant venturer. I have need of a reliable agent. Failing that, an inventive one. Here are my requirements. An opportunity for profit. He has very specific needs, but he'll pay much better than market rates, and he won't ask how you came by these things. A dream and a scheme. Quality is now one. The venturer has a request. Speak to him further or check your journal. He wants something romantic and approved, something romantic and smuggled, or something silky. If we had 21 bolts of spider silk for that one, goodness gracious. So, yeah, he doesn't make small asks, but let's see. Something romantic and approved. They publish this stuff in the Khanate to the east, but they don't trade readily, and there's a customs duty on love stories. Still, I'll pay 1,000 echoes for 7. Something romantic and smuggled. They publish this stuff in the Khanate to the east. It may be difficult. They don't trade readily, and the bazaar taxes love stories. I'll pay 1,000 echoes for 7. Or something silky. I'll offer you a better price than you can get in Wolfstack. Much better. 1,500 echoes for the lot. You'll find silk in Saviour's Rocks far to the east, or in the Khanate, near the Z's heart. So we will work on his shopping list as we zail around. I don't think there's a whole lot that we can do here, but we do have a cask of mushroom wine now. I stand corrected. Let's see. Ambition. Death hath no more dominion. The Blind Helmsman is a Wolfstack institution, a centuries-old pub held together by a crust of fry smoke and the nautical mementos nailed to the wall. When you enter, the salt-scarred navigator is already in full flow. Shitty, deep in the interior. Nida, it's called. There, they decide the span of every life. Coax tales of immortality from him. Nida's walls are basalt, but within them it's as close to paradise as a man can make. 1,000 fountains, the streets paved with gem slabs, and the air sweet with honeysuckle and orange groves. How does he know? Has he been there? Let's give him a cask of mushroom wine and find out. Straight from the source. One bottle, and he loosens his waistcoat. A second, and he loosens his tongue.
No, I never been to Nida, but not in the flesh at least.
He leans close.
But I once tasted red honey, and the memories of a man who had. I only saw fragments, an army at the walls, a breach, a rallying cry. Liberty, equality, eternity.
A third bottle. Where could you taste these memories for yourself?
Go to the Isle of Cats. Talk to the cat's chiefest claw. Ask about the far-travelled notary. But if you're wise, you'll do like me. Use what you learn to get free drinks. Immortality's for gods and monsters.
So, we can head to the Isle of Cats to pursue our ambition. I'm sure there is nothing amiss with the red honey that he mentioned. Certainly not going to be a problem. Let's see, put our ship in dry dock. We'll need to do that as it is almost wrecked. Let's see. We could go to Ledbetter and Stainrod. Do a fair job for a decent price, but they have a reputation for cutting corners. If you're badly damaged and short of money, this is worth a go. 75 echoes. Cotterell and Hathersage. C&H has a reputation for reliable work with a slightly higher price. This will completely repair your hull for 100 echoes. The Admiralty Yards. You may call in some of your Admiralty favors to have cheap, good quality work done on your ship, completely repairing your hull for 3 favors and 25 echoes. Or we can employ Ratisfaber engineers. The Rats of Fallen London are remarkably skilled engineers, and they know ships well. They are not, however, reliable. Their payment is in kind, not currency. So this would cost us 3 supplies, which is roughly 60 echoes. You can't have a cat on your ship. And it's a matter of luck. Look, just because the Ministry inspected the ship for it doesn't mean it's actually a problem. I mean, the Ministry is the Ministry of Public Decency. What do they know? I mean, come on. I'm not going to trust the man on this one. I'm sure it's fine. So, I'm going to trade in some Admiralty favors. It's relatively easy to come by as you're doing your initial explorations, and I remember having sort of a surplus of it in previous games. If I turn out to be wrong, oh well. Indeed, my Fallen London ambition wasn't Nemesis. That is true. All right. All shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well very quickly. All right, we don't need to be in dry dock anymore. Let's see, we've done those 2. We'll get to the Roser's Wharf in just a moment. Let's head to our lodgings real quick. Let's read the morning papers first so that we can pick up recent news. The Unexpurgated Gazette, the magazine formerly known as the London Magazine, the Spiteful Trumpeter. News. All right, well, thanks for dropping in. Anything so's? News from home. The Echo Bazaar, that enigmatic marketplace, has increased its tax on love stories. The Traitor Empress has forbidden singing in the street outside her palace. The anarchists of the Calendar Council have inexplicably dynamited a drinking fountain. The Ministry of Public Decency has located and destroyed a nest of gallbladder wasps. So we lost a terror there. Got some recent news. There isn't a whole lot we can do since we don't have our own place yet, but our Removal of the Blind Helmsman will allow us to spend 10 echoes to get a restful night and a reduction of terror. We could, of course, go out roistering, as it says here, to reduce terror as well, but this seems cheap and cheerful, and our terror isn't that bad, so let's have a go. The rats keep you awake of nights with their muttering and skirmishing, but the bed is warm and the door has a lock. So we lose just the 1 terror, but we do gain a restful night. You have known a sweet and dreamless sleep. This will strengthen you when you struggle against nightmares. And it's probably only a matter of time before we struggle against nightmares. So let's hit the Roser's Wharf, and then maybe we carouse, maybe we don't. We'll see. A jovial contrarian is purchasing long boxes, which I do not have. A dauntless temperance campaigner is purchasing live specimens, which I do not have. Escort some interested acquaintances to the rose market. So we'll usher in a new day and perhaps new buyers. It will use up our free evening. So maybe let's carouse anyway, since there wasn't anything else we could do with our free evening, really. It's 80% chance we might run into trouble or romance. There's no danger here. Try to enjoy yourself. It does... Oh, no, it still just costs 10 echoes. Let's do it. A marvelous night out. Sea shanties, fine food, and the warmth of a pub fire, and something more. You are fortunate. We lost 5 terror, 10 echoes, got updated on our recent news again, and lost a free evening. Trouble and romance. That night in Wolfstack, you find yourself sharing a table with a likely lass. She tipsily claims to be a spy, whatever she is. She's easy to like, and when the evening ends, you're still together. So, could do that. A dapper chap. An elegant fellow with a presbyterate accent and an unexpectedly delighted laugh. By the evening's end, it seems natural that he should accompany you home. Or someone whose name you do not afterwards recall. Your only love is the Z. You'll take comfort where you find it, but that's all it is. So, yeah, we've got our options here. And, of course, we could just opt out entirely with perhaps not, but that seems a waste. On the one hand, I do like the dapper chap. On the other hand, I like somebody tipsily claiming to be a spy. That's charming. That said, I remember more from the likely last side of things than the dapper chap side of things. So let's make the acquaintance of the dapper chap this time around. An interlude. The next morning, he gives you a golden locket. Don't lose it, he says with a grin. Then he grows suddenly grave. Truly, don't lose it. He wouldn't be painted without his hat. Has a portrait of him, and we lost 3 more terror. Well, that seems fun and good. The last thing we probably want to do here is try to hire on some more crew, as we have 6 of 10, and if we go below 5, we lose some capability on our ship. So, sensible Zailers are looking for a safe run to the tomb colonies, or at least a sane run to the southern archipelago. You'll need to buy drinks, spread around hiring fees, look for daredevils. We do exceed the state of hearts needed here by quite a bit, so I think we're going to succeed pretty well. Rich pickings. You scatter your tall tales find ready audience. Scarred and seasoned men and women tramp aboard and find places to sling hammocks. So we lost a terror, gained 3 crew for 30 echoes. Not a bad deal. Let's see then. I think the only thing really left to do is maybe trade our strange catches to the alarming scholar. I remember them wanting it. Pickled into quiescence is a very... I love the writing in this game, you guys. It's just really good. So yeah, let's give at least 1 here just to see what happens. Deep excitement. The scholar circles your specimen jar, tapping at the glass with a variety of tools. Screwdriver, magnet, scrutinizer, tuning fork, flensing knife, and a sort of slotted spoon. This will keep them going for weeks, he says, half to himself. We'll dine at the high table tonight, I think. So we gained 10 echoes, and we've increased our favors antiquarian to 2, which is great. You have combed the Z for stories and other treasures. We'll keep the other strange catch just in case it's useful and stockpile our stories for now. Otherwise, let's hit the shops. We don't need too much in the way of fuel and supplies, but it's always good to just kind of see what you got going. We've got a scintillac we could sell, which we may do because I remember it being, useful here and there. Probably get a better price on Parabola and elsewhere in the Z. We'll probably get a better price on Scintillac as well. It's true, yes. The Alarming Scholar does not seem to have proffered us any guidance there. I don't know if it would have come up before Din, but when you are creating a character in Fallen London, you get asked for your character's gender, and you can say, a gentleman, a lady, or Excuse me, there are people walking around London right now with the faces of squid. Squid, I tell you, and you dare to trouble me about my gender? I say good day to you, sir. Which is a lot of fun. And kind of the right answer, at least for an initial character, because, I mean, you know, who could resist? Let's see what else I would buy. Wouldn't you like to know? I do like the Sunless Sea and Sunless Skies thing of just pick a title, and, you know, people roll with that. Let's see. I am kind of tempted to try to update our armaments, because I have had such trouble, but it is quite expensive. And our current gun only sells for 10. Trescaris, I had a friend who offered their pronouns as wintry mix without elaboration. I like that a lot. That's really fun. Our Cottrell and Heather Sage Reproach would be like a 50% increase with the same warm-up time. Seaworm would be a tripling with the same warm-up time. I must be missing something. Oh, it uses torpedoes. That's what it is. The Reproach does not. I do like reading the descriptions here. Torpedo components. In one of the most striking coincidences of our times, torpedoes are torpedo-shaped. Yes, Fallen London has quite a variety of titles. Our current frigate surplus deck gun Mark II, This Way Up, a weapon which may serve against small monsters or feeble pirates. Torpedo nets, deploy these in combat for unparalleled protection against torpedoes. The Seaworm, torpedoes are small but lethal, don't underestimate them. The Reproach, we shall compel attention, a weapon of respectable power. And the Britomart Flensing Cannon, that's a good turn of phrase, Flensing Cannon. Fear Her Touch, one of Ledbetter and Stainrod's more reliable pieces, which isn't saying much, permits flensing attacks, which do additional damage to creatures than to ships. They do a little bit more crew damage as well, but won't do as much hull damage. Those are the ones we can afford anyway. It is tempting to splurge on the flensing cannon because, come on, it's a flensing cannon, but if we're not going to be selling some stuff, that may be a little difficult. Caminus Yards sells a Ratisfaber Assistant, which is a ship part. In combat, Ratisfaber Assistants can be deployed for quicker repairs. It's dangerous work, don't expect them back. So yeah, you can use them up, as it were. And these other bits are much too expensive for us. Iron and Misery sells engines that we cannot afford. Boltitude's House of Vision could get us a Withern Optical, which would add to our mirrors. But I tend to find that that's not a priority at the beginning. That said, these last two here, the more expensive ones, the Speculative Consonator and Judgment Resonator, are fun. Speculative Consonance, less than a technique, more than just a theory. It does not limit your ability to hide while it is on, which is fun. As does not the Resonator. Be sure their sins will find them out, which is a lot of fun. These other ones cost veils as you move up the chain here, but do increase your mirrors and increase your lighted area. So yeah, we've got some things we can do here. Let's see. Flares may be used to reveal your enemies, increasing the speed of your firing solution. I guess it comes down to whether or not we want to sell our parabola linens. It's still early days. I guess I don't really need to buy any of this stuff right this instant, which I guess makes a little bit of what we've done kind of wasteful, but one of these days we'll get a Corvette or a merchant cruiser. The frigate and dreadnought are a ways off, at least. I know, Drask. Flensing Cannon. It'll be on our list for when we are delivering Sinkstone or something a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for here? Lucrative. That's the word I'm looking for. We've got some new officers that we can speak to while we're here. We could invite the cannoneer to dine with you. We would need some torpedo components for some reason. So let's maybe not do that just yet. And our first officer only actually needs supplies to come dine with us, which we might be willing and able to do here. Let's have a conversation with our sigil-ridden navigator. He has an admirable appetite for so slight a fellow. Forgetfulness. Seconds, then thirds, disappear in small, hasty morsels. He's nervous and not a gifted conversationalist. You do your best to plug the silence. When you ask about his past, he winces. I can't say, citizen, this. He taps the livid sigil on his temple, which twitches like a scorpion's sting. Has burned away my memories. I recall I have a brother, but not his name or where he is. I remember the names of the ships I've served on, the Implicit, the Bonnie Swan, but not their crew. How did he come by the sigil? He clutches his head. I don't know. Thinking about it is like fire in my skull. He grits his teeth. Someone must have hated me very much to curse me with it, but I can't even remember my enemy. So we can speak to him again to advance his story. Your navigator's sigil has devoured his memories. He cannot recall his past. This is probably a good time to mention that my one and only tattoo is a correspondence sigil of exactly the sort that he has on his head. It's a different sigil. Then you get new crew by asking them on dates. Your crew's Republic. I mean, you can actually play it that way. There are a variety of people who will date you, and only some of them mind if you're also dating other people. You certainly don't have to, and not all of them will. But yeah, you are not inherently wrong about your supposition here. This is a little bit why the most recent game, standalone game from the studio, has been a sort of visual novel dating sim with investigation elements, sort of a light touch, I think we could say, of some Phoenix Wright elements on a Fallen London game, sort of crammed into the shape of a dating sim. It's a fascinating game, and I've enjoyed what I've played of it. And yeah, there are at least some murder mystery dinner dates in that game. Certainly some similar kind of events here as well. Before we head out of London on our next little voyage here, I am going to hydrate, as I did before I started streaming and warmed up and stuff, but haven't taken the time while we've been doing this. I can check on my Twitch Inspector as well, see how things are going. And yeah, it seems like it's been stable. That's good. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in. It has been delightful to play these games with you, and hopefully we'll continue to do so. I'm thinking what will happen is I will play this captain until they die, which is probably going to happen, and then stream something else for a little while and then come back and do another captain periodically. I have plenty of things in my backlog that are fodder for this streaming project, but I'm enjoying doing it. Finding the time during certain times of the year will be a little more difficult, but you know, when I do, it's been a lot of fun. Y'all in the chat make it so. There we go. Now, I suppose we should head to Mount Palmerston first, which means a journey northish this time. We can maybe explore some of the unexplored territory between Venderbite, Gators Mourn, and Mount Palmerston if we're careful not to run into Lifebergs. And then perhaps on our way back we can head a little bit more southerly from where Gators Mourn is and fill in some of that territory as well. There are a few things in the sort of western third of the map that I still would like to find for ourselves. So let's get on that. Last thing, I did go down 1 supplies. Boy, that is more expensive than I would like it to be, but 1 should be enough for now. And we don't have that much cargo space, so here goes. Let's head ourselves up toward Mount Palmerston and our trade in unstamped souls. The music is so good. We'll probably stop at a few ports on the way where we can kind of pick up new port reports and advance different parts of different stories. But shouldn't take too long. We may take Hunter's Keep on the way back, since we won't have Something Awaits You if we stop in now. But some others we may do. Oh. Don't lose it. You stand on the bridge with the dapper chap's locket in your hand. Keep it. It's a risk for both of you. Shorebound lovers grow lonely and sea captains die young. Or throw it away. With enough time and effort, you could break his heart or he yours. I mean, it would be mean to throw it away. Let's keep it. You close your hand over the locket. The Z air is cold, but the heat of your blood has warmed the metal locket. Keep it close. We'll lose a terror, and we have a sweetheart in fallen London. Which is fun. Dust, echoes, even a sepia tint to the air. These are the waters around the tomb colonies. Discovered the flocks of bats outside the tomb colonies, 20 fragments gained. The air trembles, a breath of change passes. Oh, we are about to get attacked by a bat swarm, aren't we? Come on. Yeah, 5 damage. Go. Those are at least challenges that I can face reasonably confidently. A bat swarm defeated. Little leathery corpses lie scattered across your deck. Oh lord. The rest of the swarm vanishes into the Neathy dark. We could gather up the corpses. They are succulent with stolen blood. Into the pot. Or we could dispose of the corpses. This will slightly reduce your terror. Oh no, not toe heel. I think that toe heel would find these fellows quite uncouth. Our terror is not very high, and I have a feeling that this is pretty good timing with our hunger at 47 for gathering up the corpses. So let's go ahead and do that. An unorthodox diet. Those little bones are troublesome and the flesh a little gamey, but salt them well enough and they're quite edible. We gained 1 supplies and gained 1 terror. That's a pretty good trade-off at this point, I think. So let's head on up. Maybe stop at Gator's Mourn. Get closer to that. Get a port report there. Little crab. An auroral megalops. Well, it found me. Yeah, you're not so special, are you? 2 shots and you're done. Before you even got me. I'm getting it back, you guys. I'm getting it back. The megalops defeated. With a forlorn and wailing cry, the megalops turns on its back, legs neatly folded as bluish blood gouts from its wounds. Its golden glow begins to dim. We can dissect it for knowledge, a low-risk pages challenge, or butcher it for supplies. I think we're all right on supplies currently, and knowledge is good, right? Knowledge is always good. There's never been knowledge anyone has regretted, so a crab full of conundrums. You set to work with your knives and acids. It is an undistinguished adolescent specimen, a megalops, one of the deep sea crab species, but its eyes, normally vestigial in these troglodytic beasts, are large and rather beautiful. The golden glow is almost gone now, although sparks leap now and then to your knife. So we gain 25 fragments. He's drunk on power. Will no one think of the Cthulhu's? Read the book. Yeah. You know, I have an MO, is what I can say here. Alright, let's see. Tanachuk. Stalagmites loom in the distance like the cranes of Woolstack docks, but vaster, vaster. The Corsair's forest. Our lookouts are watchful. Let's try to fill in some of this black here on our way to Gator's Morn, without, hopefully, coming across any pirates. Ice in a glass is ASMR, right? That counts. Alright. Hey, a lighthouse. It's gotta be good. Tiny breeze stirs your hair and dies. It's almost Christmas. Distant bells. Oh, man. This game has one of the strongest vibes I've ever encountered in media. I enjoy it a great deal. Here we are. I can probably get rid of this Submariner tutorial. Yeah, let's remove our tutorial while I'm thinking about it. Our knowledgeable about submarines quality is now 1. You need nothing explained on submarines. You are an expert. Gator's Morn. I think I have read this bit before, so I will keep it briefer here. Let's see, we can gather intelligence for a port report. We can, we've already overheard rumors of the pirate poet. We could explore the Morn. Or we could go for an evening at the Errant Limpet. I don't think we have enough terror for this to be particularly useful. So let's start with our port report for a 64% chance here. I think we may lose a crew person in the process if we fail. A dislike of spies. Yeah, this is what happened last time. I'm going to lose a Zailor every time I get a port report here. 5 terror and 1 less Zailor. Let's also explore the Morn while we're here. Contretemps with Corsairs. Fights in the Morn have a staccato quality, etc. I think we probably should flee. We are a little underleveled for the Morn, I guess. I didn't remember it being this difficult. Let's succeeded a Veils challenge. We've gained 3 terror. Dang. Well, this has not been overly productive, unfortunately. Yeah, the Morn is a scary place. Draska's right. We could sell our unstamped Creative Brilliant Souls here. That maybe won't be a great idea, because I imagine the Blind Bruiser is going to be upset with us if we do that. So let's just be away from here. Do north. Yeah, poor life choice. Let us go north, as they say. Hey, not in caps, but just normally. There is something underwater some distance to the north. Well, that's useful once we get our submarine. Palmerston's Reach. The music kicks in. We are close to Mount Palmerston. That is for true. I believe this is the area that we could dive in if we had our submarine kit. We do not. Yes, the crucial difference between north and north. We're pretty good on fuel, which is kind of a shame because I remember it being pretty cheap at Mount Palmerston. Go. We cannot yet take note of a veiled woman. Ooh. Oh, we're one Bale of Parabola in short for the Merciless Modiste. Oh, yeah, we'll have to get her eventually. Get our port report. Here we go. Deliver your smuggled souls. A hooded figure with a lantern waits at the far end of the quay. Let's do it. A hurried exchange. You give the hooded shape a sign of recognition. It hisses the reply you expected. You hand over the crate and receive a chitty marked with thief sign. You'll receive the promised remuneration in London. So, we've delivered souls to Mount Palmerston. Let's see. Go up to the crater. They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but the road to the Brimstone Convention is paved with cinders. Up the road. Do they admit visitors to the Brimstone Convention? Probably not, but you never know. They might sell tickets. Above the bay. Look down and see Port Palmerston like a toy and the ruins like gravel. You've come far, but the volcano's cone still rears above you. Rest a little before you go the last half mile. An occurrence. Your objective, encounters with the wistful deviless quality, is won. You've found a little cottage by the gate to the Brimstone Convention. There she is, the wistful deviless. The road to the crater ends at a brass gate in the crater wall. Beside it stands an oddly charming little cottage. It's thrown together from pumice and basalt, but I don't know how to say that word. I've heard it said basalt. I don't know. I guess basalt sounds more British, so I'm going to use that while I'm playing Sunless Sea. But it features honeysuckle. An equally charming deviless in a tea gown leans against the cottage wall, twirling a parasol and fanning herself. I am the guardian of this place, she remarks languidly. You may not pass, but can I offer you a cup of Armillaria tea? Do not know that word. Armillaria? That's not one of the poisonous ones, is it? You're pretty sure it's not. Or you can say, no thank you. You haven't brought a sufficiently long spoon, perhaps. I mean, read the book, right? Tea with the deviless. We gained a secret, goodness. Terror in a tea gown? No doubt she'd be much less pleasant if you tried to break down the gate. But just now, she's a courteous, soft-voiced woman in a tea gown. The tea is hot and nutty and rather pleasant. She asks about your voyages. She's desperate for news of London, of its mists, its nights, its sick, its poor, its fires. She tactfully turns aside questions about the convention, but she shares some of the secrets of the Neath. Come and see me again, she says, next time you're here. She shrugs gracefully. Bring me a present, if you like. We're now at 20 on that quality, and we gained 60 fragments from that interaction. So let's see. Let's chat with folk. Same text as the last time we were here, but we have a port report now. So I think I mentioned it before. Subsequent port reports after your first of any given place don't net you as many rewards, but that's not the same as no rewards. All right. Well, I think we're ready to be off then. So let's pull up our charts. We can sort of circle back through these two squares that we haven't really investigated yet. I mean, it's actually more than two discrete zones, but, you know, this area here. I'm a little hesitant because of Lifebergs, but they're not usually too far out, I don't think. So we're going to try it, and then we can kind of maybe loop south of Gator's Morn and fill in some of what's between it and Abbey Rock. Without venturing too far out into the unknown, as it were. Here we go. If we run into more bat swarms, that'd be great. If we run into Lifebergs or some of the larger varieties of crab, less great. All right. Have my bearing. Away we go. Let's listen to the chug of the engine and the rattle of the ice in my cup. usually you can trust the sort of, it's not exactly color coding, but the visuals about what's going to be dangerous and what's not. No islands. That looks like Corsair's Forest stuff, so probably going to be all right there. Back to the Corsair's Forest. We have some distant bells. Fed the crew. Alright, we're filling in our chart as we go. Not too shabby. No islands. Huh. I guess the main thing that I'm missing here is probably going to be south of Gator's Morn then, if it's not in this area. Might be in this area, though. Never know. Discovered Kant's Abyss. Oh, we've got a swarm of bats. Got them before they got to me. Always nice. Yeah, let's slightly reduce our terror this time. Lost 2 terror. Their eyes are still fierce in death. Zailers sweep them overboard with brooms, careful not to touch them. I found these abysses scary enough in this game, just with my brain and my fears being what they are. But once you got Submarine expansion DLC on here and had the ability to visit the abysses and do abyssal rites in them, man, that stuff's some of the scariest things I've ever come across. Blue lightnings crawl leisurely up the funnel. St. Erasmus dancing, the cry goes up. And Boreal Reach. Is this snow? Touch it and it puffs to vapor. The crew huddles close to the warmth of pipe and funnel. Now, we've just revealed this square, which is great because that is a lifeberg, and I want no part in it. So as we on pause, we are going to run the hell away. These stupid things are faster than they have any right to be, unfortunately, when they charge. Though they do have to be relatively close before they want to do that, from my memory. Alright, let's head back now that we've got our chart filling in. Just make sure our heading is okay. Please leave me alone, Mr. Lifeberg. I do not want to fight you. I guess Mr. is presumptuous of me. Lifebergs are deeply unpleasant. I have not done a hunt for one in Fallen London just yet, but I have killed a few in this game in other Captain runs. And hey, we got 30 fragments for discovering the Lifebergs of the Pale Haunt back in Palmerston's Reach and then in Corsair's Forest. And of course, we are also now being targeted by a crack pirate steam pinnace, which is probably not good. As we are not an esteemed pinnace, and we are not crack anything. We are rickety, little bottom feeders. But, I don't know, they don't have that much more HP than we do. And, I probably won't be able to outrun them. Do about the same damage. We can stay behind them. Not terrible. 1 or 2 more shots I think should do it. One more. Provided we hit. So we took some damage, but it's not too bad. She's a vile old vessel, and these aren't safe. Take what you can and move on. Lean pickings, same as last time. Hey, the source of sustenance, the fundamental element of cargo. Crates. We got 2 fuel. A crate of fuel. Coke, like coal, but more so, as the Department of Infernal Rarefactions would have it. I will not complain about that in the slightest. Alright. what's in this square here and then see where else we can go. We are a little low on supplies, but, you know, supplies are a little more fungible than fuel. Laughter from the foredeck. A little bit of attention to our terror now as we're at 20, so trying to stay smart about light and closeness to land and farness from people who might want to hurt us. Discovered Massey's shaft. Oh, I cannot fight a frigate. We're gone. Stay as much out of your line of fire as we can. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. I don't want to fight anybody. Please do not shoot me. I do not want to be shot. I just asked you not to. How rude could you be? Thornwell Croft, you say? We discovered the Shepherd Isles. Another pirate ship? Come on. At least this one's weaker and... Oh, I thought that other one wasn't following me anymore. This is a mistake. This was a mistake. Guess it's turning. Oh, whew, okay, it worked out. What do we get this time? Crates! More fuel. I mean, good deal. I think the Shepherd Isles will have some supplies for us. Discovered Field Haven. Let's see. Shepherd's Wash, the salty hinterland of London, home to hermits, nuns, and shadowy business, as well as a false star, some things we've seen before, I suppose. Let's stop in at Field Haven. Discovered Wolf's Rift. Shepherd Isles, sheep, lichen, standing stones. Of course, the bearded watchman tells you, there are no actual shepherds on the Shepherd Isles. Sheep are mostly illegal here. No, indeed, it's just the name of the gentleman who found the isles. Greybeards, sitting in the village, swear and nod solemnly. No sheep, one says, but plenty of tails. Ask us anything. So we can picnic at the Standing Stones. The bearded villagers will sell you mutton stew and kefir, and stone bottles of cold, fresh spring water, and row you over to the stones, which will help with terror for 5 echoes, which isn't too bad. We could look for tales of the Standing Stones. The bearded villagers are happy to talk about the local sites. Well, site. Tales of the 3 graves. Who sleeps beneath the turf over on that island to the northwest? Tales of Thornwell Croft. What about that isle to the north, the one that isn't bridged? The rest of the Z. Rest of the Z, the bearded watchman scoffs, is where you need to be. We don't talk about the rest of the Z. But a sniveling caitiff draws you aside. I got something for you, he promises. But I'll need some of that good stuff from London. A lot of that's good stuff. So we could bring him wine and supplies. And we'd, of course, compile a port report, which is, I think, where we'll start. Oh, my ass, there's been goings-on. In the bleak light of the false stars, surface roiling like a porridge pot, up with a roar of steam and a flash of fire, 3 widows swim in tentacles, and then we saw His Highness. There is rather a lot of material. Something happened, or so somebody claimed. And then, I suppose, for 5 echoes, a picnic at the Standing Stones is not too bad. A peaceful afternoon. Your sailors watch the fireflies shimmer, swap shanties, pass round the grog, and shy stones at the more vampirically inclined Z-bats. Grasses nod in the breeze. Across the dark water, the lights of Abbey Rock glow watchfully. We've lost 3 terror and 5 echoes. That's not too bad. Nothing else we can do here other than buy overpriced provisions, which we'll hold off on for now. Looking at our chart, we've got this area here on our way looking back at London, which may be the way to go for some supplies. Gonna throw us to be right back for a moment. I'll probably be winding down before too long, but I want to go for at least a little while longer, but just need to step away for one moment, so I will be right back. And I'm already back, and now, when I am done with the stream entire, dinner should be waiting on me, so all to the good. Yeah, let's head on back through this square area here toward London so that we can make sure we have enough in the way of supplies, and then we can head out once more to see about some other discoveries in this area before we head too far east. Here goes. We are at least also out of the way of the most dangerous pirates, I think. And tying into the my role as primary GM on the Dice Punks podcast, one of the things that really impresses me about Fallen London is they have named so many people, places, and things so well, and show no signs of slowing down, and that is one of the hardest things, for me at least, in any given creative endeavor, is just names and good names at that for things. Apologies for flashing the chart so often. I am trying not to do more zailing into these areas than I need to fill them in, since it doesn't look like there's going to be too much here. Yeah. Looking over at chat, Draskarice, just, so many names, and just, like, all of them great. Alright, well, this will be fun. We are not too far out from London, so it probably won't be too big a deal, but we are officially out of supplies, and our hunger currently increases by 4 every tick. And now we're coming to Hunter's Keep with something awaits you in port, so we should be able to do something useful. And maybe something that will afford us a little bit of food. Now, Draskarice, I don't know why you would give the tagline of the game apropos of nothing here. He's put in chat, go mad, eat your crew, die. And I don't understand how that's relevant. All right. Our cheap little port report, and we can have lunch with one of the sisters. We do not have recent... No, we do have recent news, but we don't have something awaits you in port. We could presumably use it to kind of move things along. I believe last time we lunched with Phoebe. Let's lunch with Lucy this time. Lucy, the middle sister, is sunny, restless, prone to giggles. A daft tale, Lucy leans over and whispers to you confidentially a complex story about a butler, a pig, and an inheritance. You don't follow all the details of the plot, but somehow the pig ends up in an attic and the butler in a vicar's bed. Candles flicker, dishes enter and leave, and the wind butts gently at the window panes. By the time the plum pudding arrives, you're as cheerful as you've been in months. You lose 10 terror. Wow. Get 1 supplies, lose 12 hunger, get a memory of distant shores, and we now have Stone's attention as well. So, it's very far away, but perhaps it's watching you. If we consult our journal, we will also find that we have, from last time, Storm's attention. So we now have 2 of the 3 paying attention to us. I'm sure it's fine. Ah, yes, we could use our recent news to get something awaits you in port back, which is probably what we're going to do, because our recent news won't really do us any good once we're back in London. We'll just be able to get more of it, essentially for free. So here goes. Even when the sisters aren't feeling sociable, they can be tempted out of their lair by the smell of news stories. Same. I can be tempted out of my lair, too. What is salt? Knock and wait. You ask the sulphur-eyed maid to carry a few hints of news to the sisters. Oddly enough, she comes back with a message that their headaches are cured and you're invited to lunch. On the horizon, a sickly yellow light glimmers for a moment, then fades. All right, well, that just leaves us luncheon with the sisters. Cynthia. Cynthia's the eldest, melancholy, pensive, occasionally dramatic. Cynthia grasps your arm and whispers to you. Her eyes are wide and blue, her hair is wild and tangled. Bats might nest in it. It seems to you that you are sitting on a hillside above a wide blue lake, listening to a story of a murder. An axe, a net, blood on scented water. Another chop? Cynthia asks. You've barely touched your food. Here, I'll have the maid wrap something up for you. You can't be hungry. It's not safe to be hungry. So we gained 1 terror, gained a tale of terror, gained 1 supplies. You were acquainted with the sisters, but something has changed. We would have maybe gotten some iron if it was lower. And we now have this attention of salt as well. So nothing could possibly be amiss, having the attention of salt, stone, and storm. Here goes. Let us make our way back over to London, but now that we have some supplies, we can use the time to fill in a little bit of exploration near the coast while we do it. Yeah, okay, cool. We're on track. See how close we can get to the prick finger wastes here before we yeah, there we go. Turn around now that we've got that square filled in and head on southward. Every once in a while I have these thoughts. I think I've probably mentioned this to most of the people who are likely to be watching this currently before, but the little touches that people very smartly add to their game's designs The bats flitting around above the static images and the smoke rising kind of in a small animation at various times. The fog, you know, and the sort of shimmer of the water. All those little moving elements do so much to bring what could otherwise be a very stodgy thing to life. You know, not that the art is bad, but if it was all static, moving around you. So let's see. The revenue men are here. Her Enduring Majesty's Customs Service. We can let them do their worst. We can declare our controlled goods, of which we have none. We can try to talk our way out, or we can set something aside. We don't really need to do any of this. I do like talk your way out of the search. Today's customs duty officer is a patriot. Perhaps you can claim your own admiralty business, because we have enough favor with admiralty. But we don't need to, because we no longer have brilliant or human souls unstamped. We do not have a sunlight-filled mirror catchbox, and we do not have any romantic literature, so we shouldn't need to worry. Vexed and frustrated. They roam your deck like wolves. They tear through your belongings like termites. At last, they leave. Let's collect some messages from the harbor master. Something has changed. Someone wants to sign on. The blind bruiser attends to business on the dock. We have a free evening, and the rose market hasn't changed. Let's talk to the blind bruiser to begin. Souls delivered.
What a propitious and encouraging occasion this is to meet again here in this place, which has been so very fortunate for us both. Allow me to shake you warmly by the hand, since you have demonstrated your unswerving commitment to fair dealing and honest conveyance. Very good. My patron will toast you.
We can accept payment. We do need to cover our costs, after all. Or we can announce to the blind bruiser that this pays our debt, and we're done. I feel like a life of crime has been serving us pretty well. Our suspicion is only one, after all, and nothing could possibly go wrong, so let's accept payment. An encouraging leer.
Here is your compensation, a little fuel and a few barrels of biscuits for what a certain other captain has widely surrendered for the common good. I'll take the good word to my patron, and if I'm a man of my word, we'll see each other again. Unless a whale eats you, of course, in which case I hope you will not think poorly of me for wishing that we will not.
We gained 200 echoes, which is pretty well worth our time. We were paid. Shadowy Figure has made us an offer. We got 2 supplies and 5 fuel. You know what? That's pretty good. A little request.
Once more we find ourselves here on the quayside, what I suppose is, you might say, the lip of a well of opportunities. Let us both drink deeply from this well, by which I mean our patron has a task for you. Take a payment across the ocean, bring back a little package. Of course, if you return to London without a little package, I'll probably have something sharp to say about it.
Now this is interesting, because bringing something back to London is much more dangerous than taking something away from London, and we'll have to have the package next we return. If we come back the next time we return without it, we're in trouble, regardless of whether or not we intended to do it later on. So we're going to do that because it's more interesting. We're going to get some money, ahead of time, which is great.
Here's the money. Don't lose it. Now bring a package back here. And it is my hearty recommendation that you avoid the ungentle attentions of the excise, on account of if you return without a package, it is of no interest to my patron whether you have lost it or had it taken from you. Good luck, good luck.
So if we return to London without an unstamped crate of brilliant souls before completing this task, there is a risk that the blind bruiser will take offense. So we've been asked to pick something up from Khan's heart in the Salt Steppes. Don't come back to London without it. And the blind bruiser has gone on his way. I'm sure it's fine. We do not yet have anything that he wants. I don't think we have anything new to give the alarming scholar that we don't want to keep for other things. Roser's Wharf is still of no use to us currently. We still don't have a move in the Great Game, so Clathermonts won't be useful to us just yet. Let's submit some port reports. Gator's Mourn.
You have something to tell us about the pirate fleets of the forest.
30 echoes. Remains unchanged. Let's see. Hunter's Keep. Nominal at best. Den makes a good point that, yes, I am still playing as Celiand, and so I suppose Sohil would have encouraged the bat attack. That is probably true. So the Brimstone Convention troubles the Admiralty, and we got some echoes for that. I don't feel like I have a good chance of passing off the Shepherd Isles stories that we picked up as fact. So this time at least I'm going to submit them as hearsay. And we'll get 10 echoes.
I agree, it does seem implausible. So many of the stories from that place do. Still, there is a little gold of truth in the mud of rumor from time to time. Your payment, citizen.
So yeah, we've got favors from the Admiralty for a new place. Let's leave the Admiralty currently. We can carouse, not that I think we need to. We can hire on more crew, not that I think we need to. Let's see what we have in terms of a new recruit. We can engage the Genial Magician, the Tireless Mechanic, or a Zailor. So let's see, the Genial Magician takes 50 echoes. The Tireless Mechanic takes 50 echoes. Tireless Mechanic increases veils and fuel efficiency, which is huge. And the Genial Magician increases veils and mirrors, which is fun. Let's see, he says, "Good afternoon, citizen. Perhaps I can do your engine some good." No, I'm quite the engineer. Difficult to credit, isn't it? But here are my references. Or, for the Tireless Engineer, we have, "Attention. Ready to offer my services. I'm an engineer. Finest you'll ever hire. Treat engines like my own children. Not that I have children. Too busy. Usually busy." I, for my part, really like the Tireless Mechanic, and so while I hope to get the Genial Magician eventually, currently we are going with the Engineer because, boy, I like him. Welcome aboard. Spot of rust, spot of rust. See to that soon. You there, help me with this spot of rust. There we go. Does he ever sleep? His eyes are dark circled, but his hands are steady. Yeah, fuel efficiency is very important. Even 5% is very helpful. And hey, our stats are starting to get a little higher because of all of our officers, which is great. Let's see. Don't think we have anything in particular. I'm going to very unwisely hold off on repairs here because they do just kind of stay expensive. You pay the same amount to repair 27 as you do to repair 74, unfortunately. But let's head to our lodgings, get some news. Oh, we gained some supplies. News from abroad. The Khanate is threatening war. They always are. London's colonies on the Carnelian coast want independence. They always do. The Untersee, the papers report, has undergone another alteration. Not yet, it hasn't. You'd know. Oh, a promotional coupon from Mrs. Plenty's Provisioners for a half cask of salt herring. You could use that. I'll take some free supplies any day. We could rest. We have enough money now to purchase an elegant townhouse, but I think our money would be better spent on some equipment. So let's head over to the shipyard. Oh, sorry, the shops, not the shipyard. Blip. Chemist yards. Unfortunately, I don't think that they sell anything. Aha! A secure compartment, ensure that no one gets in without the key, in or out, would help us with cargo security, protecting us against acquisitive passengers or overly lively cargo, which is tempting, but I think we're actually going to want to stop by the Morn and pick up a secret compartment instead. In the meantime, we can now buy a wider variety of gear. Weapon is probably going to be a really high priority, and we're of course going to need to pick up a few supplies, if not a ton of supplies. Draskaris has emphatically recommended Flensing Cannon. I think we actually do have a little bit of leeway in our Flensing Cannons here. Because, yeah, we could pay 900 for the Caminus Yards Heart Ender. Caminus Yards, we have always loved you. a powerful weapon that permits flensing attacks. Let's see. Iron and Misery engines, which is tempting. Our Elderly Steeple engine is not amazing. But the margins are moderate going up. Caro's gives us our basic Britomart Flensing Cannon, which we could easily afford now. I believe that the Cavalry Prong Launcher, an inescapable ending, a potent weapon which permits flensing attacks, might be also a way to go. Let's see, we've got our torpedo gun here. And then, of course, the Cotterell and Hathersage Discouragement, a severe disincentive to pursuit. Ah, it's a rear-facing cannon, that's right. An aft weapon. Aft weapons are honestly really nice, so maybe we could do a little column A, a little column B. If we grab our forward weapon here for the flensing cannon, we could get our Scorpion for our aft cannon for a total of 500, leaving us still quite a ways up from where we were. Or we could grab the cavalry for 500, which is an improvement, although not a huge one for flensing attacks. Oh, my dog Violet came to say hi. Hello, Violet. How are you? Getting scratchies? Yeah. Get you some squitchies. Let's see then. Yeah, let's get our flensing cannon and our aft weapon, and this should improve our survivability quite a bit. Let's see. Our ship does not allow for aft weapons. I should have checked that before I bought it. Oops. Nor does it allow for forward weapons. Dang. That was rather silly of me. We can only equip a deck weapon on this ship. We, I guess, should have been looking to get a new ship first. Dang, that was silly of me. Well, we've just reduced our hull size by 2, or hold size rather by 2, while we hold on to these. That was dumb. That said, I can buy a reproach and sell our current deck gun, and that would help, at least a little. So let's sell our current deck gun and buy a reproach. That'll help at least a little. Yeah, I mean, essentially an investment of 500 for later. I just feel very silly that I did that. I should have known. Should have known. Let's see. That's probably all we're going to buy this time because we will need to be able to afford that secure compartment. So let's also sell some of our things. I don't really want to sell the parabola linen because if we get one more, we can grab a crew member from Mount Palmerston. But let's go ahead and sell our Scintillac to pay for a couple of supplies. And then I guess let's maybe visit the Alarming Scholar. We have more than one of any of these that they want. No, apparently not. Alas. Believe that's about all we've got going on here currently. So I'm going to make one more little voyage here. Too bad they didn't offer an accountant. Yeah, it's true. Really, this should have just been something that I remembered about these weapons from all the time I've spent playing this game in the past. But I just was really eager to buy things with my new massive amount of income. I'm sure accountants never deal with that. Ice sounds. All right. Let us pull up our chart. We've got to go to the Khanate, which I usually try to find just by going straight out and looking. And if we find it, that'll probably be where I will call it for today. But given that I need to smuggle something, I'm going to bounce up. Oh no, I've given Din a 1,000-yard stare. Bounce up to Gator's Morn where they sell such things and then try to angle back down. I'm sure nothing will go wrong as I approach Gator's Morn after having not repaired my hull. I'm sure it'll be fine. The waves are cluttered with Z-Rack like drowned hair drifting. I remember the first truly successful captain I had in this game, one of the last things I did was get a new engine. And it was just sort of life-changing to discover what happens when you get a powerful engine. Apologies for my continual flickering of my chart once again. I try to get myself on a reliable heading, and then I get itchy about checking it. The air trembles, a breath of change passes, and Happy New Year! It is New Year's Day, 1888. Nothing famously horrible happened in 1888. Ooh, a fog bank. That'll help me slip by these corsairs on my way to the Morn. We have entered a fog bank. Our gunners struggle to see our foe. Turn off my light to see if that helps. Nope. Oh, okay. No, that was my ship starting a firing solution, not theirs. Now, that does, between the fog and the light being off, really mess with your terror acquisition rate. But, yeah. Some sort of beetle has invaded your morsel of ship's biscuit. It waggles its antennae impertinently. Antennae? Probably antennae, if I had to guess. Alright, Gator's Morn. Let's have a slightly more congenial interaction this time, if you would. I have just barely enough money to buy this concealed compartment, and I'm gonna do it. Provide some small degree of protection against excisemen searching your ship for contraband. Plus 20 contraband concealment. That goes in the auxiliary, doesn't it? No, it equips to aft. God. Alright, well, I've just sealed this. I just learned my lesson. Alright, this is definitely the spot where we are gonna call it for today, because clearly my brain is shutting down on me, and this is not a game that really does you kindly if you're not thinking about it. So, 1888, you can pass through the Suez Canal. That's great. I will try to salvage this situation in the future. But currently my game is telling me I must stop. But this will be the what I'm doing next time as well, at least until this captain dies, and then we'll move on to something else for at least a little while. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. This is lovely as always. I have enjoyed both times doing this, and it seems to have worked pretty well, shockingly enough. So go ahead and just do the very token little thanks for watching screen here for just the moment at the end here. And yeah, hopefully I'll see some or all of you next time. I'm going to try to do this once in every week, but that does mean that I can get up to like 14 days in between them. And certain times a year there will be more, some there'll be less. And maybe one day I'll even try to put out like a schedule for it. In the meantime, my thanks to everybody stopping by all the time, and I'll see you next time. Take care till then, and bye for now.